Hey, Dallas, what are your thoughts on what went down last night at the finale?
You know what? I'm happy. It was a coin toss between Dimitri and Kevin for me. For the final three, Dimitri was a comp freak. You know, there's comp beasts and there's comp freaks, and Dimitri was the Greek freak. You know, and with Kevin, you got to appreciate his game because he gets himself out of the stickiest situations. He plays well-rounded. You know, when I first seen him inside this season, I was like, Kevin, when I watched season 3, you were my favorite player ever, man. Like, I'm happy to share this season with you, right? So, you know, I'm very happy. I'm very happy that it was Kevin that won. You know, me and Karen are on the best terms. So, no disrespect, but I don't think she was going to be the face of our season.
Right.
Yeah. And watching from home, who do you think played the best game?
Who do I think played the best game? Well, I thought Gary was doing really well when he was inside the house. I mean, you got to look for the long picture. Dimitri, you know, you got to tip your hat to him. Bruno and Kevin were playing really well. Ika was a savage. Ika was my personal favorite because she was so savage. You know what I mean? I just love that. Lots of good games, man. Lots of good games. If I had to pick, I'd probably say Ika was probably my most entertaining to watch, for sure.
And while many vets played hard early on, Kevin mentioned his strategy was to lay low the first part of the game. So do you think you could have done something similar, and would you have wanted to?
Well, I mean, I didn't have much of a choice. You know, I kind of got pushed into a corner here. You know, I was guilty by association just from being, you know, voting to try to keep this guy the first week. You know, there were 6 of us. Dimitri wins that HOH. He puts up Dylan and Emily. Well, he just put up 2 out of the 6. Dylan wins POV. I'm close to Dylan and Emily. Who's next in line? It's me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I did something completely outrageous that put me in the shoes I was in. You know, but the vets being so egotistical and wanting to put, you know, get out other vets so they can put them on their own resume. You know, I told them everything's gonna go right down to shambles if you guys let me walk out the door. And what happened?
Yeah.
Vet. So I'm at home, you know, just laughing basically. Like, I hate to tell you, I told you so.
Right.
And yeah, you touched on this just now. You mentioned last night the vets were egotistical. So were you referring to anyone in particular with that comment?
Well, look at Netta. Look at Cass. Why was Netta and Cass so at each other? I don't get it. Do you know why it is? Because you got one queen from one season and you got another queen from one season.
Right.
There can only be one queen. There's one throne. Right. So when we're sitting there and saying, "Oh, these 8 vets, we're going to stick together. We're going to stick together," but these guys got hidden agendas as it is. You know, they were just trying to go at each other's jugulars, man. You know what I mean? Like, we had the newbies pinned when I was inside the house.
Yeah.
When I was sitting beside Emily, if we would have sent Emily home, it was 8-6. Dimitri won that HOH. It would have been 8-5 for vets to newbies, right? For competing in the next HOH. If we would have put up another 2, it would have been 8-4.
Yep.
You know what I mean? This is logic here, people. Logic.
And so once you got back home and were watching along with the viewers, what one thing surprised you the most about what you saw?
One thing that probably surprised me the most was just the vets couldn't keep it together. They could, you know, they could have easily just said, "Okay, well, we lost one. You know, let's patch this up.
Yeah.
You know, let's come back together." But they had their heads so far shoved up their own asses, they couldn't see what was in front of them. So, you know, like I've said, I'm very surprised that Kevin did win because the numbers weren't there for the vets towards the end. But I tip my hat to Kevin. There's, you know, like, good for you, you know. But I was definitely surprised that they couldn't just, you know, put away their differences and just like, let's unite, you know. Canada's looking at us like we're a bunch of asshats, you know, and you know what? It is what it is. It's Big Brother. At the end of the day, it's Big Brother.
And lastly, what was your favorite part about the experience this time?
Pots and pans, baby. Pots and pans. All day, every day.
Let's hear the line.
It ain't easy. Big and big easy. What? It ain't easy. Big and big. You know, you get a couple pots and pans. It's a whole another effect, right?
For sure. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, likewise.
Dallas.
Thanks for having me, guys.